Hello, and welcome to another edition of XFeed. What's up? My name is The Schiller. Yesterday, phenomenal stream. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Today, we are hoping to do the same thing. We're going to make references to what we went over yesterday. We got a ton, of really bullish news within the space. Some videos of Mars, which my first reaction to seeing this was, it's got to be fake. And I think we have a huge problem with not being able to trust almost anything moving forward. Kind of crazy. But let's go over some thoughts. Appreciate you for hanging out. Let's get into it. So we've been getting a ton of stream updates regarding Silo. Aaron McDonald saying Silo is a cornerstone of how we connect data to the open metaverse with 3 protocol elements live, which we are building experiences on already and more to come. Super proud of the team getting to this point. So we've been talking about this for a while, being like, yo, hopefully this stuff comes soon. Think it's going to be a very interesting component of the ecosystem, seeing it integrated directly within the Readyverse platform. Very, very excited. And a couple of the use cases for the token, because this is something that is going to have some implications, right? When you talk about the fact that people are saying utility matters again. All right, well, what about meme coins? What about this, that, and the other thing? And let's agree for a moment that we say utility matters. How many different utilities can different systems end up doing across the board? This is where things get kind of interesting. So the Silo token has a number of use cases, including data access. Businesses and applications can use a Silo token to access data stored on the Silo network. So there's a whole bunch of silos. You're going to be able to save characters to be able to go from one experience to another. It's going to be more on the business side of things, but super intriguing. The silo setup, businesses can use the token to set up, register, and manage their own silos. Staking, contributors can stake their tokens to earn rewards and participate in the silo network. Governance, holders can vote on fee structures, protocol upgrades, and more. This is odd, kind of. I know every blockchain has governance, but thinking of Blur and how that has not really gone the way that I think everybody expected it. They haven't turned on the fee switch. The governance thing is interesting. We'll see how that happens, but also Silo Spaces, subscriptions, tips, and plugins with fees. Phenomenal. Very excited for it. If you want to learn more about Silo, just type in Silo Network. There's like me and maybe 1 or 2 other people that have ever made videos on it. Very not well known, but we think it will. So we talk about art and the provenance of things, the creation in Web3, where yesterday we talked about how now emojis are getting connected to different NFT collections, or all of them are starting to use it. Like the rainbow one, you could argue that's for doodles. For the ape, people trying to make it represent Bored Ape Yacht Club. We can go down the list. And it's funny because a couple years ago, you'd have no thoughts of that, but because of the developments specifically within Web3, you're like, And so art on different CryptoPunks. The derivatives, we like to call these the derivatives. So Amber Vittoria have these vidibits. I guess they just want to use the term punks because these basically look like punks, but in a different fashion. And the CryptoPunk art style, well, maybe that'll just be forever, and that's how it keeps its cultural relevance. All right, here's a video about Mars. And I checked the comments. I tried to check to make sure this was like a legitimate video. From what we've seen, it seems to be the case. But damn, it's actually wild to see what some of the other planets look like on the ground level. Holy smokes. Just in Pakistan to legalize cryptocurrency. You almost forget for a second that half the world is still not allowed. Shouldn't say half the world. It's not that high. It's not that high. But there's still places where crypto is frowned upon and not even legal. Like, that is crazy to think about. In 2025, in the year that a lot of us are thinking, all right, this is going to be a big year, stuff like that makes it intriguing. Just in, crypto venture deals dropped to 116 in February, a 60% decline from 300 plus in October 2024. So people aren't feeling that comfortable throwing in some capital. So there was a post that I didn't save. I might actually go and see if I can find it right now that I brought it up. Because you have that sort of deal that's not very positive news. Oh, there was a lot of stuff that I didn't bring up. Holy smokes, maybe we got to continue that a little bit more. Scrolling. It was a thing regarding... here, I found it. So G2 Esports have received a 7-figure sum in a recent investment round. So we've talked a lot about how it seems that esports and traditional video games is struggling. And you see the decline in crypto ventures, which we could make the argument that that potentially is one of the industries that has the most upside going on with the AI connections, blockchain, wider adoption. So this is huge amongst that negative. So including Gary Vaynerchuk, their Tornate company, and existing G2 leadership to help with the Call of Duty League expansion and content projects. Today, we're excited to announce our successful 7-figure Series B investment round. The round was led by the investment arm of the Wilf family, WISC Ventures, who have become part of G2's ownership group. Among the multiple new investors joining them are the Tornate Company, owned by former Paramount Pictures and the Walt Disney Company CEO, Gary Vaynerchuk, and G2's own leadership. The capital raised from the Series B investment round will be used towards venturing into new titles, different video games. Maybe some of these are Web3 related, right? We have tournaments where these video games have prizes to attract fan bases. And people are going to want to get a part of that if it's profitable. And the video game industry has been not that great in terms of esports as of late, apart from a few. After acquiring full ownership of esports organization versions, Minnesota Rockers Call of Duty League slot, they were saying that they wanted to utilize that for wider investment within Call of Duty. Funds will also be used toward a broader diversification of G2's direct-to-fan offerings, including updates to the G2 app, major content projects, and exciting new campaigns that are yet to be announced. Well, man, imagine you're sitting on this leaderboard, right, of G2. Not leaderboard, that's not right. That's not the right terminology. But you're sitting on these meetings, you're like, we got to come up with something to get more fans engaged. How do we make some revenue? It was exactly back to what we keep talking about, how brands are going to see the opportunity if everybody just adopts really, really loving digital assets that have ownership, that you're able to buy, sell, and truly connect in a digital fashion where you don't have to have everything physical and you can reach the entire world. We are awaiting them. Telegram surpasses 1 billion monthly active users, ranking as the world's second most popular messaging app, including WeChat, with rising engagement and 547 million in profit in 2024. Imagine these things really getting on chain. And I know Telegram has like the Ton blockchain and we've seen news about it. But like, sheesh, that's a lot of cash that they're earning. I keep talking about brands, the collaboration. We're going to keep talking about it. Real Betis, the big football soccer team. Special edition Naruto jerseys. TV show, soccer, try to convert both sets of fans to be interested in the other thing. Continues to happen. Little Auntie, unfortunately, my wallet got drained. I lost everything. I think I know what went wrong. So you never, ever want to see this. And anytime I do, honestly, I just stay on that person's page and I wait for the answers. Try to save things, go back and get the explanation. It's always the question of, all right, was this something that was somewhat obvious at any point, or could this affect me directly? And you always have to be on the top of your toes for it. Okay. And this has to do with Telegram, oddly enough, but these Jay Bossa has 30,000 followers. Notable individual. Their Telegram got hacked, and they have a chat here that's saying Tuesday at 11 a.m. Yeah, sorry for the misunderstanding. That works perfectly for me and the team. Thanks for being flexible. Perfecto. They lock in, and then they sent a link from talksy.ca. If you can't see this, it's just talksy.ca. Now, don't type that in, but I've never heard of this video audio service in my life. And they're saying, go to this app and see it. And obviously, there was a compromise, so you have to be aware of, does this sound like somebody different? If we're good friends, if we just met the person, kind of have blind faith. But really try to pay attention, because when I read that, I've never heard of that site in my life. So I would think that hopefully was preventable for most people, and it's a super crappy situation. I hope they're able to get some of the assets back. But it's always good to know what the reason behind something is. Remember Akutars, one of the most anticipated mints of 2022. They managed to lock up $45 million at the time, or pretty much their entire mint fund, due to a bug in their smart contract. So imagine you have everything going for you, and then everything you raised gets screwed over because there was an issue with something in the contract. And these haven't really recovered. Now, Mika Johnson, big notable individual, was the artist behind these. MLB's done a couple of pieces around this. I think it's a super cool collection. But it's almost impossible to come back from such a huge situation because everybody remembers it. The team's demotivated from day one off that. Obviously, there was posts about them being like, yo, we're going to continue to do things, and that's great. We're talking so many millions that it hurts. But going to check out the activity just to see kind of what it was like. These things were coming out initially at 2.8 ETH. And then it was quickly realized about the contract issue. And it still found like a ton of volume, like 0.5, but it's like a lot of NFTs have just struggled. So the question is, are these communities, collections able to be reignited? Is there still a fan base of sorts that are going to like them? How much weight do we put into the price of something? Because if you're looking at this and this is your first time seeing it, you say, hey, you know what? Those are really cool. I almost like them as much as Good Vibes Clubs. And those are going for, $800 right now. But you can buy these for $40. How much of the price tag makes us change our perspective versus just simply liking something? I think a lot of stuff can change over the next little bit. It'll be exciting. Breaking, Kraken announces it's acquiring NinjaTrader for $1.5 billion. So venture deals down, massive acquisitions, not bad. And investments over in esports. We are excited to announce we have entered into an agreement to acquire NinjaTrader, the leading U.S. retail futures trading platform, for $1.5 billion. So yesterday, we highlighted Shreevers. Here's a quick reminder of what the gameplay looked like. And I don't have audio on this, so I'm just going to talk over it because there's the person who made the video is talking. But just to give you an idea of the graphics and a reminder, as we did show some of the gameplay yesterday, but that's Aftermath TV. And Loopify also highlighted that they had an avatar collection. So we've seen Akutars, we've talked about Good Vibes Club. You know all what you've seen on the timeline. Our Timeless NFT collection still has some of the best individual PFPs, in my opinion. So this is you as a person who enjoys judging things. Do you think that these are some of the best profile pictures you've seen in the space? Some of you may be sitting there thinking, hell yeah, those are cool. Some of you may be looking there being like, yeah, that's what I call tough. Or you might be like, that's cool. I don't really like that one. Not really vibing with that, but that looks good. That'd be my take on it. It's not fluid throughout the entire collection, but decent. My indie game is coming out in 1 week, next Wednesday. It's called Spilled, and it's a short, relaxing game where you clean up waste. What about this game? If this was Web3, do you think that'd be cool? I don't think it is. I just saw it, and I was like, you know what? Calm, cool, simple idea for a game? Hell yeah. It's like one of those farming ones. Alert information stealing malware. Ammos and Luma, disguised as cracked versions of TradingView, have been spread through Reddit posts targeting crypto users to steal personal data, crypto wallets per Malwarebytes. So Malwarebytes is like an antivirus if you want. It's like $50 for the year. They have VPN and other components, and I think there's deals if you want. Again, not like a show for it, but there's still more and more people trying to advocate for various antivirus softwares. Malwarebytes is a good one, and them also highlighting something that's very specific to crypto traders and us. Good to know. But also back to the Telegram component we just looked at, just be careful because a lot of things aren't doing great. Okay, so I want you to go down memory lane for a second. I want you to think about what your first memory in crypto was. We'll listen to Matty B say his, I'll say mine, and then if you're here, let me know yours, or just remember. So your first crypto memory.
Sure, I was on a sales desk in 2016, and everyone on the desk was trading tokens like Howard Token, Golem, a lot of ones that really aren't even around today. Totally FOMOing in. We were throwing out phrases like, you got to ride it like...
Ride like the wind, bullseye! Ooh-ah!
absolutely murdered on these tokens. It did set up, to help me find my passion for the space. Of course, I got into NFTs. Can't say I did much better. It's definitely more interesting to me than just liquid tokens. That's what I learned.
So going back to when I first got into the space, I remember a friend, Mr. Morrow, if you guys remember, Morothon, I think was his Twitch name. And he was really into buying sports cards and trying to resell them. And I was like, well, that's cool you're doing that. I don't know how I would tell what's valuable and not. Coming to realize it's not impossible, but you do have to go through some effort, which also makes me realize, hey, for real world assets and everything around that, where we have physical collectibles, which the Forgotten Ruins comics came in the mail the other day. I got to post about them later. It's like 2 months delay because one of the shipping companies for comics went completely under. Anywho, he also got me into Bitcoin and Ethereum, and he was like, you got to learn about this blockchain thing, all about money and everything else. And I was like, damn, like this stuff is crazy. And I remember getting super obsessed where I started just watching every single YouTube video that I could find at the time regarding crypto, and then go down the way a little bit, finding NBA Top Shot. But I'm pretty sure my very, very first crypto memory was just being onboarded and talked about crypto, because I don't think I cared about any of that stuff until that moment. I think we were talking about like my old apartment too, specifically. I don't know if we went to go get like drinks or anything beforehand, but yeah, hell yeah. Yo, Rodney Mullins. Have you met my man, Rodney Mullins? First memory was minting a Rug Punk Ape Yacht Club. That's what I call tough. Wait, do you remember when you first got into the space though, or is it simply you just remember minting that? Because I'm trying to think when I go like way, way back. I think it was just like the NBA Top Shot moment or buying crypto on one of the exchanges here in Canada, apart from that initial conversation. For the Root Network, there's been a reduction in the price for getting or renewing your RNS name. So I got a whole bunch and I've taken advantage of it, but it used to be 5 XRP to register. Now it's just 2.5 and XRP is down compared to when I think the last one was. And it's like 50% off right now until March 30th. So if you're trying to pick up a root name, or if you're just trying to extend, I know you might have forgotten about them because they're not traded yet, but I saw a post that was saying they were supposed to by the end of this month. Hopefully we'll see them. I was pretty late, just after Fluff World Mint. So apparently everybody in my Discord, and if you guys are on X and you check out the bio, there should be a link to in the Discord. And if you guys ever want to say hi, talk, whatever in there, 100%. But allegedly, I don't remember this far back, everyone in the server minted Fluff World except me. And now none of the people on that server have any Fluff World NFTs except for me. Funny how this space works. Breaking, Chris Chisholm, managing partner at Symphony Technology, has agreed to purchase the Boston Celtics from the Gauspec family for a valuation of $6.1 billion. It's now the largest sale for a sports franchise in North America. I got Celtics.root. I mean, not to connect the two posts from what we just talked about a second ago, but if anybody's looking for a huge deal, I got the name for a $6.1 billion business. Let me know. Celtics.root. Good price for you. Coming soon to McDonald's. Minecraft movie meal. So the sports jerseys and the movie and the anime and the IP, the fast food and the IP and the collabs. Just keeps happening, right? And then you just have to think, this is happening here, and we're over here. And eventually, the people that are over here are going to want to come join us over here. I feel like you needed to have like text over that because that doesn't work. Anyway, Penguin Pudgy Penguin, NFT ETF. Can you imagine an NFT ETF back in the prime heat of 2021? Aye. But speculation is pretty dead. It's pretty dead. You have movement initially on Pengu and Pudgy Penguins, Little Pudgies, Rods, the whole collection. But then it kind of dwindled a little bit. But the whole market seemed like it kind of, everything was like up and then it just leveled out like a sand bed almost the next day. United States Securities and Exchange Commission, Form S1 registration statement under the Securities Act of 1933, Canary Pengu ETF. Okay. This is what they had to say. Canary Capital files for Pengu and Pudgy Penguins NFTs ETF. Today, Canary Capital filed for a first-of-its-kind ETF that includes both the Pengu token and Pudgy Penguins NFTs. We are ecstatic to have both Pengu and Pudgy Penguins NFTs included in this, and innovative filing aimed at pushing the boundaries of crypto and ETFs. So the Bitcoin ETF opened up the world, eh? We believe that Pudgy Penguins is the face of crypto, representing innovation and the mass adoption of blockchain technology. Being included in this filing is a strong validation of that belief. So you have some people on the timeline that are just like irate over this. I'd say I'm trying to have a perspective of the other person that's not a fan of this in some component. Sure, maybe Pengu doesn't do well long term, and then suddenly it's like a bad look for the space, which don't worry, we have a bad look in the space literally every 20 minutes. You know what I mean? Like, but when it's saying that it's the face of crypto, representing innovation and the mass adoption of blockchain technology, how many people aren't involved in Pudgy, Abstract, or anything? They just feel, wow, I'm not in that, so that's not the mass adoption. That's not bringing people on. Like, is that what the problem is? Because I don't get it otherwise. No tax rumor was false. So there was a crypto summit that Donald was supposed to speak at. He did. It was like a 2-3 minute speech. But for some reason, like an hour before, there was a huge rumor that there's going to be no tax on crypto, which the implications of that we're not respecting in the least. I think that's going to be huge if that happens. But of course, it was false, not addressed, and he's like, all right, we're doing clickbait. Phenomenal. But back to the ETF news. Garga from BAYC saying, very cool to see and expect to see more like this. Is that like alpha? Or what are we thinking here? Like, is what you and I hold and potentially a part of an ETF? Very nice. DoorDash and Klarna have signed a new deal where customers can choose to pay for food deliveries in interest-free installments. There's been so many takes on this on the timeline that it hurts. Also, I think it's super relatable because a lot of people that are younger that have the opportunity to use DoorDash, they probably do it until they're like, wow, this is really expensive because of the fees and everything else. And then they still use it anyway, and I'm lazy, we'll deal with it later. But the fact that this is an option or is needed to be implemented, are people spending too much? Does that mean people are wanting to have the luxury of things? Do we say that people are lazy? And so, here's AI taking over. Or do you say everybody's really hardworking, and so that's what they're doing? When you learn about the perspectives, the point of views, everything changes because you can look at every single situation 45 different ways. So there's a big post that Garga responded to that was talking about Bored Ape Yacht Club. This is touching on the first original mint for this. I think this is just like a tone check. I'm not exactly sure. I haven't read it yet, but I wanted to react in real time with you. So thanks for your thoughts. I'm caffeinated and going to give you mine. We created Bored Ape to scratch an itch. We put them up for minting at $200 a pop and a flat rate, which was different at the time. So back in the day when NFT mints were coming out, a lot of them were at bonding curve. So for the first 500, let's say they were $20 an ETH. And then once you hit beyond the 500 to 1500 or 2000, it was $100, and then it was $500. And it was the idea of, well, this costs so much that it's going to elevate the cost of something else here. If people are wanting to speculate on one of like the rarities or however it worked. And for a long time, that was just the way that it worked. But people realized, it's kind of stupid. Over that summer, we just put everything we had into being welcoming and growing the community and trying to make BAYC a way for regular people to experience and experiment with crypto, which we do have the Bored Ape Mint stream up on the YouTube channel. If you want to just go to it and click popular on the filter, you'll see it. NFTs for access to digital spaces, NFTs for access to physical goods, NFTs for wacky treasure hunts, NFTs for insane in-person concerts, NFTs for mobile game competitions, with the top prize being a stinky Honda Accord. We've highlighted the car on the stream before. They've done multiple concerts, and try to recall that when these things were originally minted, it was simply a vibe. Hey, this looks kind of cool. There's a couple people talking about it on the timeline, and that was it. I don't control prices, but with the optimism and growth in the macro, the feeling that there was always some new crazy dopamine waiting to hit, that some anons who don't sleep were cooking something wild up on the new frontier of the internet, resonated with the market, in my opinion. I agree. I remember talking back on streams with NBA Top Shot, and I still say it, of this is exciting, it's something new, it's different, and it's always on. And royalties made it all work. The result was one of the best performing assets in the history of the world for a truly insane year. But when you succeed, you need to put something aside for the devil. Little tax. Paid in cash, energy, or relationships to deal with. Conspiracy theories, clickbait, journos doxing leading to armed men showing up at your door. People who trusted wanting to carve you up. People who made millions from the NFTs just flat out losing their minds. The old admin deciding, hey, let's just kill and debank all crypto in the USA. Every Web2 social media platform on Earth getting hacked left, right, and center, leading to even more phishing scams. Partners that you thought you could depend on going AWOL because you paid them too much money. Every copy-paste baby, ape, otter, creature, club thing running away with 20 million 2-3 times a week, and all of that stuff happened in late 22 of FTX, Luna, Celsius, 3 Arrows Capital, etc. Oh, wow. What a sheesh. That's crazy. What a banger. Man, Gar going nuts on this. But this is the best take I've ever seen. Like, this is phenomenal. Because you have to remember, there was craziness. They were doxxed when they were supposed to be anonymous. We forget that that was a huge component in the space, but people wanted to know who somebody was. Because there was so many bad things that were happening, but leads to horrible things. The amount of money people are throwing around in certain things. The debanking is obviously the scariest part. Well, sorry, I shouldn't say that because people showing up at your door is horrifying. But like getting debanked, like, yeah, how do you deal with that? I know there's nomads, but I don't know how you exactly deal with that. What's going on? Raven Quest has changed Web3. We got a new beginning. Hell yeah. Oh boy, how I want to contribute to Web3 and NFTs, but these guys keep paying the cabal and I have no chance. I thought the cabal was dead. What's going on? Overall, your take seems to be that we should have just paused at the September-October 2021 version of BAYC and Yuga. But the ApeCoin drop you think fondly of was received on the back of a lot more, and also anticipated us going all out to do more, surprise more, delight more. Doing that requires scale, but we tried to scale on the company and we couldn't find the talent to depend on. This was a big thing across, I think, a lot of teams where we heard, hey, this massive individual from Web 2 is coming over to Web 3. We got the best in the biz. But you've seen individuals that have done that in very front-facing roles that haven't really found the right niche, that haven't hit the right chord. Some people do well, some things don't. It's a wild perspective. And that's why every time anybody says anything to me, I'm always trying to look at every perspective. Because there's 101 ways to look at something. Bored apes in the community were making millions just shit posting. So why would they come work here and deal with psycho trolls and insatiable needs? Another component too, you can just sit back, earn. NFTs were going well if you ended up minting them. Why do you want to deal with all the crap afterwards? Hiring the best in the Web2 biz didn't work. Literally would have made 10x the progress if I had just put Figgy in charge day one of other side and closed my eyes. That's a crazy statement, and I genuinely haven't read this, and that was kind of my first thought too. The Web2 people just not working out well. So that's nuts. And the reality here is Yuga hasn't extracted shit. We poured every drop of energy into growing the pie, but the internet free shit glitch of 2021 kind of depends on royalties. Absent them, you literally have founders of what were one of the top 5 NFT projects shamelessly posing on the timeline today about how every NFT project should just shut down and dip. Yeah, there's some horrible takes on the timeline, and we don't highlight a lot of them. But to his point about royalties, you forget that Blur came along and made it where trading just killed all royalties. And then they farmed everything for points and a token. And if the token's not performing well, if the hype isn't there, if the speculation's not there, It's got some ramifications. The reason why one of the longest standing crypto institutions is Inverse Bra is because their industry suffers from the opposite of scholarship bias. People are so quick to forget everybody who cashed out and dipped that we invented a mythological freezer frog thing to remember for us because it's impossible otherwise. We have people who raised for their NFT project at north of $500 million valuation literally don't have it in their Twitter bios anymore, and it's all G. True. There's basically, you can do whatever, and there's like no ramifications. Instead, we bemoan those who show up every day despite whatever the conditions are to kick in somebody's head and build. You have to have a screw loose to do this. There is no easy way, period. You have to be willing to bet on a long enough time horizon. You win because basically almost no founder in crypto actually thinks that way. Very personable post. Love to see it. Something to account for. Guys, I do want to highlight Wayfinder. We haven't talked about it a lot. I might put a link in the bio afterwards here. I mean, there's a referral code, so true. But with one of their missions here, if you happen to have $10 on base, wallet mission statuses will update once per day. Funds must be held in your wallet until the prompt TGE. You have to submit your email, make an account. It will make you create like a passcode that's 4 numbers. And then you can access this dashboard. And then for this mission, it's deposit $10 in ETH base or USDC or USDT. And so it's certain things, again, you get stuff for free. Other ones, you have to do a little bit for it. For Abstract, I put in the $10 initially. Wayfinder, I'm doing that too. Totally up to you if you guys want to do it, but just an option if you think, hey, you know, AI tools, some of this new stuff, that's not a whole lot to get into, just to kind of be familiar with the new system that's coming out. So I'll throw that referral link down in the comments below on YouTube, and maybe I'll reply to the tweet regarding this, but that's going to be it for this edition of XFeed Roar. The truth is those projects don't deliver anything. They just the living dream, keep the money. If they did something, Bored Ape, Suzuki, and others, we would already have a game or real utility. See, but that's the question, Roar, because he just said we're showing up every day doing this, but then there's people like Roar just did there that was bashing them saying, well, they're keeping the money, they're not doing anything, when they're saying, hey, we need a long enough time horizon. So you see, can instantly tell the different perspectives from everybody, and it's crazy in that sense. But guys, thank you so much for watching. Appreciate you. Enjoy your weekend. We'll see you back on Monday. Roar and my man Rodney Mullins, thank you for coming on through. We'll talk soon. Peace.